It starts as a whisper, soft yet persistent. At first, it feels like a fleeting thought, a quiet nudge at the edge of your consciousness. You can't quite place it, but it's there, a sense that the life you're living, the routines you follow, and even the thoughts you think are missing something. It's not dissatisfaction. It's deeper than that. It's a question echoing within you. Is this all there is? The world around you seems unchanged. The sun rises, the streets bustle, and people chatter about the same things. But within you, something stirs. It's subtle at first, like a ripple across still water. Maybe you feel it during a quiet moment, when the noise of the day fades and you're left alone with your thoughts. Or maybe it strikes you in the middle of the chaos, as if a voice within is trying to be heard over the clamor of everyday life. This call doesn't come with instructions or a clear direction. Instead, it arrives as a feeling, an unshakable knowing that something greater awaits. You might experience it as restlessness, a yearning for more meaning, or even a sudden sensitivity to things you once ignored. The world seems to vibrate differently, and you sense you're out of sync with it. You start noticing patterns in the mundane, as if the universe itself is speaking to you through symbols, numbers, dreams, or fleeting moments of synchronicity. These are breadcrumbs, scattered across your path, pulling you towards something vast and unnameable. This is the call to awakening. It doesn't shout or demand. It invites. It's gentle yet unrelenting, urging you to see beyond the veil of what you've always known. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Something inside you has already begun to change. The call asks only one thing. Will you listen? A shift begins to take place, subtle yet undeniable. The world that once felt solid and predictable now seems distant, almost unreal. Conversations that used to engage you feel shallow. The things you once chased, success, possessions, validation, lose their allure. It's as if the fabric of reality is unraveling, revealing gaps you never noticed before. This isn't a rejection of the physical world. It's more like stepping outside of it, seeing it from a new vantage point. The rules and structures that once seemed so important now feel like a play, intricate, well-rehearsed, but ultimately scripted. You start to question why you've been following this script, why you've accepted the roles assigned to you without question. Even your interactions change. Small talk feels exhausting, and surface-level relationships leave you feeling hollow. You crave depth, authenticity, something real that transcends the usual dance of words and gestures. The energy of certain places or people becomes overwhelming, almost suffocating, as if your senses have sharpened and can no longer ignore what you once overlooked. This disconnection isn't without its challenges. It can feel isolating, like being a stranger in a world you've known your entire life. You might wonder if something is wrong with you or if you're losing your grip on reality. But deep down, there's a knowing, a quiet assurance that this detachment is necessary. The three-dimensional world, with its focus on the material and the tangible, begins to feel like a shadow of something greater. It's not that you've stopped caring about the world. It's that you've started to see through it. And in that clarity, you realize you're being called toward something far more expansive, far more alive. You are no longer content to merely exist in this constructed reality. You're seeking the truth behind it, the essence of what lies beyond. And though the journey feels uncertain, there's a spark within you, guiding you forward. It begins subtly, a strange sensation in your body, your mind, your very soul. You notice things you can't quite explain. Perhaps it's a heaviness in your chest that lifts only in quiet moments, or a buzzing energy in your hands, your feet, or even your entire being. Your dreams become more vivid, filled with symbols that linger long after you wake. The world around you feels sharper, as if every sound, every color, every detail is turned up a notch. But it's not just physical. Your emotions shift too. One moment you feel an overwhelming peace, a connection to something vast and infinite. The next, you're grappling with waves of sadness or anger you can't trace to any one event. Old wounds, long buried, rise to the surface, demanding your attention. It's as though your soul is cleaning house, clearing out anything that no longer serves you. There's also a sense of fatigue, but it's not the kind that sleep can fix. It's a deep, soul-level exhaustion, as though your entire being is recalibrating, aligning itself with a frequency it's never experienced before. Even your relationships shift. People you once felt close to now seem distant, as if you're no longer speaking the same language. Your senses become heightened. You notice subtleties in others' energy, feeling drained around certain people and uplifted around others. Foods you once enjoyed no longer feel nourishing, and you might develop an aversion to environments that once felt comfortable. Everything about your life feels like it's being reevaluated, reassessed, recalibrated. These symptoms are unsettling, yes, but they're also signs of transformation. They're the birth pains of a new reality taking shape within you. It's as if your body, mind, and spirit are being rewired to handle more light, more truth, more awareness. And through it all, there's a knowing, even in the discomfort. This isn't illness or misfortune. It's growth. It's ascension. Your soul is preparing you for something greater, something extraordinary. There comes a point in the journey when the light you're moving toward illuminates everything, even the parts of yourself you've tried to keep hidden. The shadows, those pieces of pain, fear, and doubt you've buried deep, step forward, no longer content to be ignored. They demand to be seen, to be felt, to be understood. It's not an easy moment. The emotions that rise can be overwhelming, raw, and unfiltered. Memories you thought you'd forgotten resurface with startling clarity. Regrets, fears, and patterns of self-doubt you thought you'd moved past seem to loop endlessly in your mind. It feels as though your own soul is holding a mirror to your face, asking you to confront everything you've avoided. This confrontation isn't punishment. It's a reckoning. The shadows exist not to harm you, but to teach you. Each one holds a lesson, a truth you must uncover to move forward. But learning these lessons requires courage. It requires sitting with discomfort, allowing yourself to feel the things you once ran from, and finding the strength to forgive, not just others but yourself. There will be days when the weight of it all feels unbearable, when you wonder if this journey is worth it. But in these moments, there's a subtle shift, a realization. The shadows are not your enemy. They are a part of you, waiting to be integrated into the wholeness you seek. And as you begin to face them, something extraordinary happens. The heaviness starts to lift. The pain begins to transform into wisdom, the fear into strength. The shadows lose their grip, no longer looming as threats but softening into reminders of how far you've come. Through this process, you discover that the light you're seeking isn't just ahead of you, it's within you. And the more you embrace these hidden parts of yourself, the brighter it shines. It starts with a pull, subtle but unrelenting, drawing you toward the natural world. The hum of the city, the endless scroll of digital distractions. None of it satisfies you anymore. Instead, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the scent of rain-soaked earth, the rhythm of waves crashing on the shore call to you like a long-forgotten melody. When you step outside, something shifts. The air feels different, alive. It's as if the world around you is breathing, pulsating with an energy you can now sense. Trees no longer seem like just trees. They're ancient sentinels, standing silently but full of wisdom. The ground beneath your feet doesn't feel inert. It feels like a living connection, rooting you to something much greater. There's a peace in these moments that's difficult to explain. Time seems to slow, and the weight you've been carrying begins to dissolve. You notice things you never did before. The intricate patterns on a leaf, the way sunlight filters through branches, the symphony of sounds that make up the forest. It's not just beauty, it's communication. Nature speaks to you in a language without words, reminding you of a truth buried deep within your soul. This reconnection isn't just about finding solace. It's about rediscovering your place in the web of life. You're not separate from the earth. You're part of it. The same energy that moves through rivers and mountains flows through you. And as you attune to this rhythm, you realize you're not just visiting nature, you're returning home. The more time you spend in these sacred spaces, the more grounded and alive you feel. It's as though nature is teaching you, not with lessons but with presence. In the stillness, you hear its wisdom. To grow, to adapt, to let go of what no longer serves, and to trust in the cycles of life. This is more than a retreat. It's a reunion. The earth, the sky, the waters, they've been waiting for you to remember. And now that you've answered the call, you feel the harmony, the balance, the profound belonging you've been seeking all along. It begins with a realization. Not everything you've carried with you can come along on this journey. There are pieces of your life, relationships, habits, beliefs that once felt like anchors but now feel like weights. They served their purpose, taught their lessons, but now they linger, holding you in a place you no longer belong. The process of letting go isn't clean or simple. It's layered with emotions. Grief for what you're leaving behind, fear of what comes next, and at times, guilt for choosing yourself over the expectations of others. Yet, within that complexity, there's clarity. You sense that clinging to the old will only keep you from embracing the new. Conversations with certain people feel forced, their words no longer resonating as they once did. Places that once felt comforting now feel confining, as though they belong to a version of you that no longer exists. Even familiar routines begin to feel hollow, like echoes of a life that isn't truly yours anymore. As you start to release these ties, the weight you've carried begins to lift. It's not easy. Some farewells are quiet, like a book closing softly, while others feel like storms, full of tears and heartbreak. But in every goodbye, there's a quiet understanding. You're not losing, you're making space. And as the space opens, something remarkable happens. New energy flows in, filling the void with possibilities you couldn't see before. The friendships, the opportunities, the perspectives that align with your evolving self begin to appear. What you're letting go of wasn't wrong or bad. It simply no longer fits the life you're growing into. Letting go isn't about rejection. It's about honoring the past while embracing the future. It's about trusting that what's meant to stay will remain, and what's meant to leave will pave the way for something greater. With each step forward, you feel lighter, freer, more aligned with the person you are becoming. There comes a moment when the barriers you've always known, the invisible lines dividing you from others, from the world, begin to dissolve. It's not sudden or dramatic, but gradual, like the soft unveiling of a truth you've always carried but couldn't quite grasp. You start to feel connected, not just to those you love or share similarities with, but to everyone and everything. You sense it in the simplest of interactions. The warmth in a stranger's smile, the kindness in a fleeting gesture. It's as if every soul carries a piece of the same light, and in seeing it in others, you begin to recognize it within yourself. There's no separation, only reflections of the same infinite energy expressing itself in countless forms. This awakening brings a profound shift. Where there was once judgment, there's understanding. Where there was resentment, there's compassion. You begin to see that the struggles of others are not so different from your own. Their pain is your pain, their joy is your joy, and their journey is intertwined with yours in ways that words can't fully explain. The concept of love itself transforms. It's no longer confined to romance or familial bonds. It becomes a state of being, a boundless energy that flows through everything. This love isn't conditional or transactional, it simply is. It radiates from you, not as an effort but as a natural expression of who you are becoming. In this state of unity, even nature feels closer. The rivers, the trees, the sky, they're not separate from you but part of the same living, breathing organism that is the universe. Every interaction becomes sacred, every connection meaningful. This discovery isn't fleeting, it's a remembering. It's as if the universe has been waiting for you to see it clearly, to recognize that you've always been part of something far greater than yourself. And as you embrace this unity, you realize that love, pure, unconditional, universal love, isn't something you find, it's something you are. There are moments when you meet someone, and it feels like you've known them forever. There's no need for small talk or surface pleasantries. Your conversations dive deep, effortlessly, as if you're picking up where you left off lifetimes ago. These are soul connections, rare and profound, and they transcend the boundaries of ordinary relationships. These connections don't always arrive gently. Sometimes they come in like a storm, shaking the foundations of what you thought you knew about yourself. They challenge you, reflect your deepest truths, and hold up a mirror to your soul. They're not here to make life easy. They're here to make it real. There's a resonance, a frequency that you share, almost like your souls are speaking in a language beyond words. It's not about appearances or shared interests, but something far deeper, a recognition of energy, of essence. Whether the connection lasts a moment or a lifetime, it leaves an indelible mark on your heart. These relationships often come with a sense of purpose. They push you to grow, to face parts of yourself you might otherwise ignore, and to step fully into who you're meant to be. Sometimes they are mentors, guiding you with wisdom that feels ancient and familiar. Other times, they are mirrors, reflecting your light and your shadows with equal clarity. Not all soul connections are peaceful. Some stir up emotions you didn't know you had, forcing you to confront your fears and insecurities. Yet even in the turmoil, there's a sense of gratitude, a knowing that this connection is part of your journey, a key to unlocking a deeper understanding of yourself. And then there are the quiet ones, the souls who feel like home. Their presence soothes you. Their energy aligns with yours as if they're walking beside you, not ahead or behind, but perfectly in step. They remind you that love doesn't have to be loud or dramatic to be transformative. Sometimes, it's found in the simplest, most genuine moments. These connections are gifts, woven into the fabric of your life to guide, challenge, and uplift you. They remind you that no matter where you are on your journey, you are never truly alone. There comes a point when you realize your journey isn't just about your own growth. The healing you've experienced, the lessons you've learned, and the transformation you've undergone have prepared you for something more. You begin to feel a pull not to retreat from the world, but to step into it as a source of light. Being a light worker isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about embracing your own humanity while holding space for others to do the same. You're not here to fix or save anyone, but to be a beacon, a reminder that transformation is possible, that hope is alive. You feel it in how others are drawn to you, seeking guidance, comfort, or simply your presence. Your energy becomes a sanctuary, not because you're better or wiser, but because you've walked the path of healing yourself. You understand what it means to struggle, to face shadows, and to find light on the other side. The role of a light worker isn't always easy. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear. But even in those times, there's a deep knowing within you that this is your purpose. You're here not to shield yourself from the chaos, but to bring clarity to it, to show others how to navigate it. Your work isn't limited to grand gestures. It's in the way you listen without judgment, the way you uplift others with a kind word or a quiet act of love. It's in the courage you show by being vulnerable, by sharing your own story so that others can see they're not alone. This isn't a role you take on for recognition or reward. It's who you are, woven into your very being. And as you embrace it, you realize that every step of your journey, the struggles, the breakthroughs, the moments of doubt, has prepared you to stand in this light. You are a guide, a mirror, a reminder of the beauty and resilience of the human spirit. And in fulfilling this role, you're not just helping others. You're contributing to the awakening of the world. It's not a destination nor a finish line. The fifth dimension is a state of being, a harmonious alignment where the boundaries that once defined your reality fade into something limitless. In this space, there's no struggle to prove your worth, no race to achieve more. There's simply the quiet, profound understanding that you are enough, exactly as you are. Life doesn't lose its challenges here, but those challenges take on a new meaning. They're no longer obstacles to overcome, but opportunities to grow, to expand, to deepen your connection with the universe and yourself. Even in moments of difficulty, there's a sense of peace, a knowing that all is unfolding as it should. You move through the world differently now. Your decisions aren't driven by fear or obligation, but by love and intuition. The noise of doubt and the pull of external expectations no longer have power over you. You trust the rhythm of your life, the timing of each moment, and the wisdom of your inner voice. Connections feel richer here. Every interaction holds a depth you couldn't access before. You see others not as separate but as reflections of the same universal essence that flows through you. Compassion comes naturally, not because you force it, but because it's woven into the fabric of this dimension. Your sense of purpose has shifted too. It's no longer about striving for something distant or elusive. Purpose is found in every moment, in the way you smile, the way you breathe, the way you exist. The world feels alive with possibility, and you move through it with a sense of gratitude and grace. This wholeness isn't static. It's a dynamic, evolving dance between your spirit and the infinite. The fifth dimension doesn't mean the absence of growth. It means growth without resistance, transformation without fear, and life lived in its fullest expression. Here, you realize that the journey wasn't about reaching this place, but about becoming it. And as you stand in this wholeness, you understand. This is the life you've been searching for, the one that was always waiting within you.